What do you do if your student status gets terminated? This video is going to cover the big picture 3 solutions to how to get your student status back. And before we get started, I just want you to know, I know it's extremely stressful. It's a painful situation. How could it even happen? It's probably not even your fault, but the system is the way it is. And we're going to go through every single step so you know exactly what you need to do. Okay, let's get started. Hi everyone, my name is Joseph. I'm the managing partner here at Tsang and Associates, where we solve legal problems with creative solutions. So the legal problem is that some people's student visa gets revoked or gets terminated. And this can happen in so many ways. I wish there was a simpler way to fix things, but as it's laid out, these are the 3 ways to solve the problem. We're going to talk about the pros and the cons of each one so you can know what you should do if you're in this situation. The first way is if you file a reinstatement. It's a simple form. It's deceptively simple because if you look at it, it just says, oh, you need to fill out this form, you get a letter from the school, and you have to explain why you fill out a status. It seems like it's just a note that you give to a principal, and then they're like, oh, okay, I forgive you, and then you get back in status. But in reality, if you really want to win the case, you want to do it a lot better. So we have a lot of examples of people do it themselves, it fails, and then we do it and it succeeds. And so that's a direct causal comparison, right? And the difference is not because, we are an attorney and we signed the form or anything, it's because the documents we were able to collect and prepare was just that much comprehensive. We explained much more thoroughly why this person fell out of status, what they did in the meantime, that they were not unlawful. We asked for grace, we asked for forgiveness. We show them that they're gonna be great in the future and how the school benefits. We do all these additional argumentation that's not required, but somehow that's what gets it approved. So that is the first way to go about it, right? Preparing a 539 reinstatement case. The problem with reinstatements is it takes an extremely long time. And if it's not successful, you've been unlawfully in the US for that entire time, because the moment service gets terminated, you're suddenly unlawful here. If you win, you're in heaven, right? Because your student status gets revalidated, you could go back to school again and life goes on. But if it fails, suddenly you have a 10-year ban in the US. So reinstatement is a huge gamble. So generally we don't advise it unless you have a very solid and strong case, or if you're just buying time, and that's just one way to go about doing it. So that's one method. The second solution is going back home. Go before the consulate and get a visa and come back in again. And so this is actually what most DSOs advise their students because it's quick. You buy a plane ticket, you fly back, you're issued a new I-20, and it's basically restarting the process, and you go to the consulate and you prove your case. For a lot of people, that is not a viable solution as well. Maybe the country is in lockdown, maybe the consulates, the interviews can't be scheduled until like 3-4 months later before they could get the visa and then come back in. For some people, they have other competitions that are lined up. In the US, they need to start within like a few weeks. Some people just can't afford the cost. So there's a lot of various reasons why people cannot go back to the consulate. Some consulates are extremely strict. Maybe some consulates in certain countries, their approval rate for F-1 visas are in like 5%, 10% range. So if you are lucky enough to get it and then suddenly something happened to it, good luck trying to get it again, right? And so that is the problem with the consulate route. Most designated school officials, DSOs, just don't understand that. It seems so simple. Well, you were a student, why can't you just get it again? You just have to fly back and come back in. It's like, unplugging and plugging back in. Except you're putting all this burden on this student when it wasn't their fault in the first place. So that's the second solution. The third solution is actually just to leave the country physically and then just come back in physically. Instead of the airport route, you do it with the customs officer. This has a lot of risks and a lot of requirements as well. So first off, you need to be able to leave the country. If your visa is already expired, you can't leave the country. You can't get into those other countries. You can't get into Canada or can't get into Mexico. And let's say you fail. Let's say you fail to convince the customs officer that you have a sympathetic case and that you deserve to have your I-20, your student status reinstated. You have a bad case. Well, now you're stuck in Mexico, right? You're stuck in Canada, and now you need to fly back home from that other third country. You left your house, your belongings, everything here, and you're still back to step 2. These are 3 different solutions. None of them is easy. All of them are painful. USCIS is operated by people. And if you have a sympathetic, good enough case, maybe that person will be sympathetic and understanding enough. That is USCIS. The consulate are also people, and they also want to help students. Customs officers are also people, and they also listen to cases as well. And so when in doubt, prepare your case well and try all three. I wish the system was simpler. I wish it was a simpler solution, but there really isn't. And you can't be in denial. These are the three different pathways, and this is your fight. So kind of think really hard how to prepare your case well, choose your path, and hope that the person that is reviewing your case understands your circumstance and is willing to approve it. If you have any questions about reinstatement, about entry, about the consulate, how to prepare your case, would love to talk to you more about that. Take care. Bye-bye.